Hi, my name is Ronald Stanley. This is my presentation for CIT 336, PHP Web Backend Development on filter vars with sanitize and validate flags. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. So first off, what is a filter var? So this is where we're using a filter var function to filter our variables with a specified filter. We can either validate these input or variables or sanitize them. So the syntax usually goes as filter var, the variable name of the filter name that we're going to use, such as like a sanitize email or sanitize string, and then the options such as like the flag. So we always need a variable. So the variable is required. This is the variable you're filtering. The filter name is optional, specifies the name of the filter to use, and the options are often those flags we use, and those are optional too. So let's go ahead and look at kind of how this looks like. So a simple validate, you have a filter var, you'd put in the variable name, filter validate email. And then what that's essentially going to do is it's going to stop unwanted characters coming through that aren't associated with an email address. And we'll see how that works a little bit later on. So this will either validate yes or no. If the email is entered correctly, it validates. If it is entered incorrectly, it will not go through. So to sanitize a string, we can have a filter var, the type variable, filter, and options. And this will filter the variable, only put certain characters through depending on the options used. So if we want to sanitize a string of a variable and a variable is getting passed through, and we can put in a certain type of, for example, I think we use a filter flag and code high later on that gets rid of certain characters in the string. Um, and so these are different types of flags that we can use within a string to remove certain characters that we don't want to use. So filter sanitize email, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This will remove all characters except letters, digits, and these symbols. So anything but these and letters and digits is going to get rid of. So anything that's getting funky, that's getting put in, it's going to go ahead and take these out and just ignore them. So here's a example of how we're going to sanitize a string with a flag. So we're going to go and do a set a variable string to equal h1 hello world, and then we're going to do these weird characters. We're going to do this E, O, A, an exclamation part. So you're going to see this is actually quite common because a lot of times we want to put in a heading, but we don't want to see the h1 tag. So it's going to take out those h1 tags and it's going to take out these weird characters right here. And you can see that in the web page, if we go ahead and run this code, it's just going to say hello world. And I'll show you so you can see that the code's there too. So this is that same code we're using. So new string filter var, we're passing in the string variable, filter sanitize string, filter flag strip high. And then we're going to echo that new string. And it's just hello world. So it gets rid of those tags and it gets rid of those funky characters. All right. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so we're going to sanitize the email here. So we have an email. The email variable is equal to stanleyronaldc@gmail.com, but we have these characters. And remember, these characters weren't ones that could be used if you refer to that. So when we go ahead and set the new string to sanitize the email, what it's going to do is it's going to, when you run it, it's going to just do stanleyronaldc@gmail.com because it's going to take this in and it's going to sanitize, filter these characters, and just put out what we need for the email. All right. So let's go ahead and actually just look at the next one here. Let me see. We'll go ahead and pull up our presentation here, and we're going to lastly validate a float with a flag. So there's not a lot of examples I can find with validations with flags. It's more often with sanitizing, filter sanitizing versus filter validating. But this is a way you can invalidate a float so that you can allow a fraction. So we're putting in the int of 10.23, and this allows a fraction to be used with a decimal. So we're gonna filter validate float, filter flag allow fraction, and it just allows you to use a period within the number as a fraction. So it allows 10.23 to go. So it's either going to say variable is a float or variable is not a float. So we can see here, this is the code. So I was able to put in 10.23 here. And you can see that when we run it, the variable is a float. So it went ahead and ran, and you can see that's test3, test3. So that's pretty cool. Something that you're able to do is just for a specific case. So flags are cool because it makes it so that we could do our basic filter, sanitizer, validates for a certain type of input or variables, and then we can have a flag so that if we need to change it slightly depending on the program application, we can do so. So that is everything. Hope you guys were able to learn a lot and have a good one. Thanks.